Hey guys, how you doing? Fragrance Professor back at it again. I want to bring to you today three fragrances that are all inspired by different Parfums de Marly scents. And these are ones that I've had in the collection for a few weeks, or some maybe up to about a month or 6 weeks now, but I haven't really talked about them because it took me a while to sort of wrap my senses around these and to kind of be able to form an opinion about them before I came to present these to you. So one I spoke about in a recent video, and I'm going to start with that one, but the other two I have not mentioned at all. Okay, so let's dive on in. The first one is Hercules. Now, I presented this in a very recent video from just the other day. You may want to go back and check that out if you haven't seen that in fragrances that are some top picks for winter. But this is a clone of actually Herod by Parfums de Marly. And Herod is one of my favorite scents in the collection. It's just a wonderful cherry pipe tobacco sort of vibe. I wear it, especially in these colder months, but sometimes, I love it so much. Sometimes I'll wear it year round, really. And, sometimes maybe wear it at night or what have you, but I can't go 6 or 8 months and not touch the stuff. I love it so much. So I do have a couple of other clones, but the thing that really caught my eye, besides just being a fan of Maison Alhambra and Latafia in general, is the presentation. So the bottle is very reminiscent. All three of these are the same style bottle. And this was very reminiscent of the Parfums de Marly bottle and the boxes. Here's the box for Hercules that I'm telling you about right now. The other two are the same, just different colors. But I really like this one. All these can be had for $25 or so, by the way. So that's the first one that I want to share with you today. So that's Hercules. All three of these are also EDPs, as are all of the Maison Alhambra and Latafia fragrances, by the way. Now, this one is, you may or may not recognize Kalos. You may or may not recognize or be familiar with the scent that it's actually trying to emulate, which is something called Kalan. Now, Kalan is one that I don't have in the collection. I've never really smelled, I don't believe. Neither of these last two are fragrances that I personally have, or I don't believe I've even smelled samples. So I'm really just kind of judging on their own merit. Now, I really like the red bottle. It's just very eye-catching to me. Again, Kalos is the Maison Alhambra version of Kalan, which is the Parfums de Marly OG. And this is sort of a dirty citrus. Okay, so there are a lot of spices up top, blood orange. It takes a while to kind of get used to this one a little bit. It settles down some, but when I spray that, I do get the citrus, but I get a lot of spices. There's some saffron in there and different sort of spices and woods. But I was doing some research before I went to film this, and somebody compared it to dirty lemonade. And I thought, man, that is just perfect. And I wanted to pass that along. So whoever came up with that description, they really, I think they nailed it there. But anyway, a dirty citrus is kind of what this is reminiscent of. I don't know, to be honest, and there's a bit of sweetness in there as well, but I don't know if I would have purchased a full-size bottle of Kalan. Kalan, from what I understand, is one of the more controversial PDM type scents, Parfum de Marly type scents. It's not one that you hear a lot of hype about. It's very divisive. You either love it or hate it, apparently. And like I said, I've never smelled the original, so I can't really give you much more than my opinion on this. From what I can tell, this is a pretty close emulation or inspired by version of Kalan. But, for $25, you can't go wrong. And that's what I paid here for it. Now, $200 for the OG, I don't know. I think if you wanted to go that route and, dirty lemonade or, dirty citrus is something that appeals to you, I would probably recommend getting a sample or a decant or something just to know if if you're going to be happy with it, because that is a lot of money, especially for something that's a little bit off the beaten path like that. Okay, last but not least is something called Galatea. Okay, now this is a inspired version of something called Godolphin. Okay, and again, Parfums de Marly, Godolphin. Now, this is a woody leather scent, and as I was doing my research on this, it appears, and I'm going to show you this bottle. It's a very pretty, sort of a gold colored bottle, very original. I think I don't have anything original in terms of not having anything in my own collection that kind of goes along with this. This is very unique as far as what I have. But getting back to what I was saying, I think that from what I read, this is a response to Tom Ford's Tuscan Leather. So when Tuscan Leather came out, around 2010 or so, this was Parfums de Marly's response to that. So think Tuscan Leather. If you've smelled Tuscan Leather, and I have, and I actually have a couple of dupes of Tuscan Leather as well, that this really is reminiscent. So when I read that, again, doing my research for this, I'm going to give it a spray. Oh yeah, I'm getting very strong Tuscan Leather vibes from that. The leather is really, really coming across, and I'm smelling that. It's just sort of wafting through the air. Now, you may or may not be familiar with Rasasi La Yucawam. Okay, now that is another one that is an inspired version of Tuscan Leather, and I do see some resemblance. Now, if you go onto something like Fragrantica, which is a database that I really enjoy, it gives you all the details about a particular fragrance. It seems that people are reminded of those two that I just mentioned. Okay, so when people are looking at Godolphin, it will generally list down at the bottom of a particular page on Fragrantica scents that kind of go along with that, or this reminds people of these particular other scents. And so Tuscan Leather and La Yucawam by Rasasi are ones that really are in the same vein. So again, this apparently was in response to Tom Ford's Tuscan Leather. Okay, so for whatever that's worth. Now, again, a little bit goes a long way. Would I buy Godolphin, having smelled Tuscan Leather and having several dupes of Tuscan Leather? Maybe, maybe not. I probably will be satisfied with just having Galatea, which again, that's kind of what these clones or dupes are for. You don't want to shell out the big bucks for the original when something like this will kind of scratch that itch. And so that's probably where I will end up landing with Galatea, as well as Kalos, that I probably will just stop there. Now, like I said, Herod is one of my all-time favorites, so this may take the place of Herod every once in a while, or I may even layer it. But I'm glad I have the OG on that one. But these two, I'm probably going to be fairly satisfied with just stopping here. All right, so that's it. Again, these can be had for anywhere from $22 to $25, $26, depending on where you get it, and if you're able to get an especially good price for it. But they are worth every penny. Maison Alhambra is something that I am becoming a big fan of. I have probably about 10 Maison Alhambra fragrances in the collection now. Learning about Maison Alhambra through Lattafa and being turned on to them through Lattafa. Again, that's sort of the overarching umbrella house, apparently. So this is a branch of that. So there we go. Okay, so we have Hercules, Kalos, Galatea. Let's call it good there. Hope you enjoyed that. Do you have any of these, or do you have the OGs? I'd love to know. Drop me a line down below. Share with me a little bit, or about anything else that is on your mind. And if you're not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? I'd love to have you along for the ride. All right. Well, guys, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. I'll catch you in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.